What's up, guys? Welcome to SoCal Fishing Forecast for Thursday, October 15th. Here's a quick look at the upcoming weather for the week. It's been pretty warm recently, and it's going to stay warm with this kind of light Santa Ana condition that we've had over the past few days into this weekend, and then it's going to start cooling off next week, getting more back into those fall conditions. Here's a quick look at our current wind conditions. It's looking pretty nice out there. This is the nice fall light wind conditions that we're looking for. Really going to help us out with spotting fish. So as of right now, this wind pattern is looking pretty solid. Earlier in the week, it was not so friendly. But pretty much the threshold here is 15 knots when things tend to get a little bit snotty. But so far, looking like this weekend is looking pretty nice. So generally under 15 knots for the entire weekend, and we'll keep that in mind. So let's get after it. Here is today's, or this morning's, temperature chart. We finally have a nice reading on temperate.com. There was no cloud cover, so we got a nice fresh look. A little bit of fog messed this up here, but other than that, it's a really clear and recent view of what is going on. All right, let's talk islands first. Catalina, same old thing, not a whole lot going on. The typical bass, bonita, barracuda thing has been going on all year, is still going. There's still some yellows around. Lately, they've been on the east end here from China Point to Orange Rocks. Seems to be working kind of the usual spot as well. I wouldn't be shy to check out the west end. As long as you got current and the right conditions, I think you can probably get these things to bite if you can track them down. So try doing some slow trolling sardines, trying to locate these fish, watch the birds. That's going to be your best bet for Catalina this weekend. San Clemente Island, I really don't have any information to report for San Clemente. No one has been fishing it. Everyone is just driving right by the island right now and going after the tuna bite. So I really don't have any eventful information for you to kind of lock on that island. But if you have the time, it's probably worth a look if the schedule is open. I haven't had a chance to look at the schedule yet, but that would be a good idea. Now, for the main event, let's talk tuna. Currently, tuna have been basically just below the 7-Eleven, across the Tanner to the Cortez for pretty much the last 2 to 3 weeks for the most part. And there is a mix of yellowfin and bluefin in this area, and this is why it's kind of been the main target for most sport boats. Now, this is a pretty far distance. You know, you're talking about almost a 100-mile run, or 80 to 100 miles, depending on which lane you're coming from. So this is not going to be for your private boater. But if you're hopping on a boat this weekend or sometime later this week, probably a day and a half is going to be, this is going to be the area that you're going to be focusing in on. Now, as far as the fishing goes, it's been really good, kind of aquarium style fishing a little bit of the good grade fish as well. Now, there has been yellowtail at the 9 down to Cortez, right at the 9 fathom spot at Bishop Rock. They've kind of been there the whole year, but they're still hanging out. So if you're in this area, definitely yellowtail is definitely an option. But the tuna have been on both sides of this temp break, going back and forth. So we got 68-degree water on one side and 72 on the other. So setting up a pretty nice bite along this temp break, which makes it easy to track down. Now, as far as what's being caught, the bulk of the bluefin are in the 30 to 50 pound class. There is a couple jumbos around, 80, 100 pounds, 150 pounds. They are there. The yellowfin are mainly the bigger size, 40 to 75 pounds as well. So looking pretty good there as well. Now, the tuna are still biting the sinker rig, flightline sardine and 12 ounce, 10 ounce sinker. Match your sinker to the current. That's going to be the key on as far as how much weight goes. And some of these guys are fishing as light as 20 to 30 pound fluoro with a number 2 or number 4 hook. I mean, that's going to be really for the smaller fish. You can try and get away with that, but I guarantee if you're hooking an 80-pound fish on 30-pound, you got a good chance of losing it. So if you see the fish aren't being so line shy, I wouldn't be afraid to step it up to, I'd say probably 40-pound. It's still going to be enough to get the job done on an 80-pounder. And on the off chance you do hook a big one, more than likely those are probably going to come on the flat fall in the dark. So I wouldn't be scared to try that as well. Aside from the bluefin fishing and the yellowfin fishing, there hasn't been a whole lot going on as far as the kelp hattie scene. There's been a couple out near the West Butterfly, a couple around the 371, 425. But this is hero or zero fishing. There's a lot of kelp hatties floating around out there, and unfortunately, most of them don't have a whole lot of fish. And the ones that do are a lot of those little rat yellowtail, 4-pounders, really small Dorado, 3 to 5 pounds. So you might get into some skipjack, you might get into some 10 to 12 pound yellowfin as well if they happen to pop up, but mainly smaller fish on the kelp hattie fishing. Coronados have been pretty much dead for weeks here. Let's take a look at the chloro chart. You can see why. You got some pretty nasty green water. Fish are not moving into the zone. They haven't been, and no one's really fishing them. So I wouldn't waste your time looking at the Coronados. However, one of my later season bites has started to pick up a little bit, and that's the kelp off Northwest La Jolla. If you never fished this area before, dropper loop and the yo-yo is the way to go. These fish are going to hang down low, and you got to try and work them up. Now, if this zone gets crowded, it's close by, so it's probably going to get a lot of boat action. Do not be afraid to check out Barn Kelp up north at Oceanside or Carlsbad Canyon. These are two other areas that are typically pretty good for late season coastal fishing. So don't be shy about taking a look around. Wouldn't be worth a peek for sure. As far as the weekend conditions go, offshore is looking pretty nice. 2 to 3 foot swell, 10 seconds from the west, and a south swell at 11 seconds. Pretty much the same consistency for most of the week with, like I said, winds up to 15 knots. Monday night looks like this wind swell picks up 3 to 4 feet. So you got a little of a peaky crossed up swell for most of the weekend, but looks like conditions are going to be pretty favorable. But like always, make sure you check out the weather conditions before you leave, and be safe out there on the water. That's all we got for you guys this week. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe, or share. We're probably going to do a couple more videos this year while the fish are still biting, but I look to see things probably slow down. I'd say probably by the 1st of November. I would expect things to really start coming to a halt here. But we're going to try and do some videos over winter that are not necessarily reports. So if there's anything you're interested in seeing, a how-to or recipes or anything like that, drop us a comment and we'll try and put something together for you. Until then, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.